Hi,
It's
it's
been
Gabby.
reported by Alex Crook. Alexander Isak is adamant he will not play for Newcastle again, even if window closes without exit. Tyneside career is over and no wish to reintegrate. Clubs say not for sale. Wow.
I mean,
Wow. Who does he think he is, by the way?
correct.
Like,
Correct.
listen.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Charlie Talks Football. So, new location here, but honestly this Newcastle stuff is crazy now. What I wanted to talk about was Gabby Igbonlahore's comments. Now he's someone who actually has been, criticised for his comments about Newcastle. Now, but this point, I actually do agree with him. So if you're new around here, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, let's get into the video. So what Gabby basically said, he was on TalkSport talking about ISAK, and he said, as much as I do have banter with Newcastle fans, who does ISAK think he is? He's been disrespectful to the club, and he basically talked about how after everything Newcastle's done for him, what ISAK is doing is disrespectful. So I'll play the clip for you guys.
It's been reported by Alex Crook. Alexander Isak is adamant he will not play for Newcastle again, even if window closes without exit. Tyneside career is over and no wish to reintegrate. Clubs say not for sale. Wow.
I mean,
Wow. Who does he think he is, by the way?
correct.
Like,
Correct.
listen, I can have banter with Newcastle,
Correct.
but like, who do you think you are, mate?
Correct, mate.
Who do you think you are?
Has that been released? That's Crookie.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's been confirmed. Like,
Wow.
who do you think you are?
That's exactly what I am.
Disgusting. What that club's done for you.
And by the way, have a think about this.
Jesus.
Have a think about this. If you're Liverpool, or you're Liverpool fans, is that the kind of person you want to be signing?
Real Madrid want him in 2 years when he's 27. He'll do the same to you.
Of course you will.
Wow.
Of course you will.
Ali, and the fact that Newcastle missed out on Shesko, they've got every right to say, listen, you're going nowhere. We've lost Callum Wilson. We can't get Wisher over the line yet as well. We're not going into the season. They've got Villa on Saturday.
I'll tell you right now.
And they could do with him against Villa.
I know. I'd love Newcastle to do
I'm
it.
fuming, mate.
But I'd love them to do it, but they won't be able. I'd just fire them every week.
I'm not a Newcastle fan, but I'm fuming for them. Interesting to hear Newcastle callers on that. But, like, who does this guy think he is? Like, you've had a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Settle down a bit, mate.
And why did he sign the contract if he wasn't going to honour it?
Exactly. I get it. You want to go and explore and,
Of course you do.
and go for a bigger club. But if it doesn't suit the club, shut up. Get your boots on. Big season for Newcastle. Want to start the season well. Villa away, tough game. And now you're saying you're adamant you don't want to play. Like, what?
That's unbelievable.
Wow, that's wound me up.
So there was the clip of Gabby talking about ISAK and the situation, and I don't really agree with them on many things, but I do agree with them on this. I think the way that ISAK has handled the situation at Newcastle is not good at all. Further reports are coming out saying that he actually has put his Newcastle house up for sale. He wants out of Newcastle, and David Ornstein has put out an article saying that ISAK has told Newcastle he will never play for the club again. So yeah, it's a really complicated situation. Newcastle, I think Newcastle now are just going to have to say to ISAK, look, you contracted the club, you've still got 3 or 4 years left on your contract, you're staying at the club. But again, would you want to keep an unhappy player here at the club? So it's about, what the Newcastle thinks best. It's ISAK will not be starting the first game of the season against Aston Villa. You can definitely confirm that. But will he go to Liverpool? Reports are still saying that Liverpool are waiting for ISAK. Liverpool still want ISAK. But what are your thoughts on what Gabby said? Because, I fully agree with them. Who does ISAK think he is? Look, I get he wants to explore and move away from Newcastle. He wants to go to a club where he thinks he can compete with for more trophies. But like I said, I think the way he's gone about it is probably the complete wrong way. I think that ISAK could have asked to leave Newcastle earlier on this summer. The way he timed it was wrong. And my message to him is, why doesn't he just come out and say to the fans, look, I've loved the time I've been here, I've won a trophy, but, you know, I've decided now that now is the right time to leave Newcastle. I don't understand why he just doesn't say that at the fans, because that, I think, would give him a bit more respect from the fans, because he's lost a lot of respect, certainly from me and the majority of Newcastle fans, from the way he's handled himself and the way that he has gone about this. But what would you do as Eddie Howe? Would you just say to ISAK, well, if you don't want to be here, then you're not going to play for the whole season? Or would you integrate him back into the squad? Because obviously he's one of the, if not the best striker in the league and the world, and of course Newcastle would need him because he helps us get points, you know, he scores goals. So this is a situation that has got out of hand. You know, do you blame Paul Mitchell? Who do you blame? We don't fully know everything that's going on, but he's on strike. He's basically said to Newcastle, I'm not going to play for the club ever again. And I think it's been really disrespectful. Not that long ago he came out and saying how happy he was at Newcastle and that Champions League would be a key factor for him to stay in, and clearly his head has been turned by the approach from Liverpool. Liverpool clearly knew what they were doing, and now ISAK wants out. You know, he's not been training with the team, he's not been involved with the team. Eddie Howe clearly says that he wants players who want to play for the club. And it's a shame how this situation is going, because whatever happens, whether, you know, ISAK goes to Liverpool or he stays at Newcastle, his reputation has still been tarnished in fans' eyes because of the way that the situation is happening. And look, I understand he wants to leave, but I think he's being advised awfully by whoever it is, by his agents, by, you know, people who are close to him. He's clearly being advised to try and force the move to Liverpool. And of course now in football, player power is a big thing. You know, if a player says they want to leave, a top player like ISAK, there's not really much clubs can do about it, unfortunately. And clearly the player has tried to play a power play here, but no one is bigger than the club, and I think that's the message that I want to say. You can't just down tools. I get you're one of our best players, but you're still under contract. Newcastle is still in a strong position. We maintain all the cards here. You know, if Liverpool really want him, pay the 150 million price tag that we want for ISAK. So yeah, it's a situation that seems to have spiraled out of control. I'll keep you guys updated on it. But what would you do if you were Eddie Howe, if you were, you know, part of the board at Newcastle? Would you tell ISAK, look, you're not going anywhere, or would you just sell him now? Now, we don't have long left in the transfer window, so it's going to be very, very difficult to get in a good replacement for ISAK, especially since we missed out on Benjamin Sesko. I can't really say any other strikers who are good replacements. So yeah, what are your thoughts on what Gabby said? What are your thoughts on this ISAK merry-go-round situation? On other stuff, I want to get into some more news. Newcastle has shown interest in Jacob Ramsey. Has been reported by many credible sources. He's been a player we've been looking at for a while, a player who probably won't cost too much because Aston Villa need to sell because of PSR. So what are your thoughts on that? I think Ramsey's versatile. Look, he's probably not the most exciting signing in my opinion. I know some of you guys may disagree, but Newcastle are one of the clubs who have reportedly started talks with Aston Villa. So what do you think about that? So I've just came back on to add more stuff to the video. Now, it has been reported that Newcastle will actually wear a gold Carabao Cup badge sort of thing on their kit when we're playing the League Cup, so that's a nice touch. But can Newcastle, look, the big question is, can Newcastle compete in all these tournaments? We're in the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and I don't think we can unless we add like 5 or 6 players to the squad, because we're quite low on midfield depth. If Bruno Tonali or any of our main midfielders get injured, we've got Willock who gets injured all the time. He's been quite unlucky, to be fair to him. We've got Lewis Miley who's young, he can't play all the time. And then, you know, adding Malik Chow, he'll be a good signing, I'm sure. We've needed a centre-back for a while. No longer can we talk about Mark Gee signing for Newcastle. But another thing, guys, you probably are wondering, where I am, it almost looks like I'm in sort of a jungle here, but I think it definitely matches with this Newcastle top. But yeah, do you like these videos when I do them outside? I'm sure you guys will. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe, become part of, you know, the 10% of people who are watching these videos and are subscribed. But please make sure to subscribe, because really helps out the channel, helps out me doing these videos. Leave a like to get this video out to more people. But what are your thoughts on all this information? What are your thoughts on Gabby's comments, Newcastle's interest in Jacob Ramsey, the ISAK situation, which, you know, I think, to be honest with you guys, most Newcastle fans are probably fed up with the way the situation is going. Either sell him or keep him. We're sick of talking about it, to be honest. It's becoming almost like a marquee situation where that's all Newcastle fans were talking about last summer, and we didn't even manage to get the player. So it's simple as that. I think the club should just say to ISAK, look, you're under contract, so why should we be in any like need to let you go? There's no point. You're under contract. Yes, you want to move, but we don't care, because Liverpool have not agreed to pay the asking price that we have set for ISAK. So, like I said, Newcastle hold all the cards here, and we could play a real power play, because I think ISAK has clearly disrespected the club, and I don't. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching. You know, I'll make sure I keep you all updated on this situation. But like I said before, please, you know, subscribe. Really helps us out. And thanks for watching, guys. Bye.